Hello, my friends, and welcome to this introductory webinar on the Success Codex. I'm Ankhara Rose. I am the creator of the Success Codex, the founder of the Success Codex Academy, and new partner, proud partner, and team member of Bodygraph.com, which is the only place that any of us can access the Success Codex. And I am thrilled to be here and sharing about this new system with you. So, little transparency, truth be told, we actually did run this webinar live, but my computer had a little freak out and crashed. And even though we did get through that webinar and it was wonderful, I wanted to recreate it for you so that this experience can be a little bit more seamless. You don't have to wait while I'm popping off the screen and popping back on the screen. It'll be nice and smooth. So first things first, I just want to share a little bit about what the system is. Then we'll talk a little bit about why it's important, why it's useful, why you're going to be someone who's going to want to explore it for yourself and then potentially with your clients as well. And then at the end, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you exactly how to access it on Bodygraph. And then I'm also going to show you how to get a free mini report that goes alongside a training that I created in Business Mastery Hub. So let's dive right in. So the Success Codex is a system that the intention behind it is so that you, as an entrepreneur, as a change maker, as a leader, as someone who's here to do good work in the world, can really understand the way that you were designed to create success. It's a map of your genius potential in business and in leadership. And here's the thing, right? So many of us came into this work, really the entrepreneurial aspect of the work that we do, simply because we love these systems. Love human design, love astrology, love gene keys, soon love the Success Codex, right? Maybe you're a healer, maybe you're a guide, maybe you're a business coach, maybe you're in corporate, right? It doesn't really matter how you came to it, but the fact is you love what you do. And this idea came to mind that why don't I do this for a living? Why don't I make money doing this thing that I love? I get to serve people. I get to nerd out on the things that I'm into. And yeah, I get to make money. But the business and entrepreneurial world as we know it, it's not really geared towards honoring the individual as we grow our businesses and grow our impact. And here's what I mean by that. All of the programs out there, some of them are great, some of them are not. All of our concepts of business as we know it, what corporate is, what it means to be successful, what it takes to get there, it's actually all riddled with conditioning. And a big part of that conditioning and a big part of sales and marketing as we've known it up until this point has relied on telling us all the things that we're not, all the things that we're missing, all the things that all the spaces we need to fill and the ways that we need to change who we are in order to have success, right? Oh, you don't have that platform, you're not going to be successful. Oh, you're not using that strategy, you're not going to be successful. Oh, you have to post on social media like this, and you have to market like that, and you have to price like this. Now, I personally have gone through that in my own entrepreneurial journey. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. A lot of it was offline. But since I've been in the online space, I went from a very successful offline business and then kind of like naturally came into online and was successful. And as soon as I started to hook into the marketing that was geared towards people like me, a soul-led entrepreneur, I started to doubt myself and I started to wonder, gosh, am I doing this wrong? Is there something else that I need? How can I be more successful? And as soon as those messages from the outside started to seep in, I stopped trusting myself. I started overriding my own authority. I really was looking outside for the answers that in an ideal world, I would have been seeking inside myself. And I really bought into a lot of that. And I know that I'm not alone here because every time I ask that question on a webinar or to a new client, it's general consensus. Being an entrepreneur, it can be really challenging, right? It can be fun and expansive and amazing. Maybe your business is wildly successful, which Huzzah, amazing. Congratulations for that. Maybe you're kind of in the middle. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you've been doing this a long time and you still haven't crossed that threshold into a sustainable income. I've been in all of those places. Okay. So I know what it feels like. And if you're into a system like human design, Gene Keys, Astrology, Success Codex, you're interested in this because you value the individual. You inherently understand how empowering it is, how life-changing it can be when you understand the way that you were designed to operate and when you live in alignment with that. So systems like human design, astrology, gene keys, they were created for personal, maybe spiritual development. Right? The intention behind these systems is I'm going to help you grow as a person. And while that is absolutely a part of what it takes for us to really be actualized and fulfilled human beings running a business, there are a few, I'm just going to call them like gaps or maybe mismatches or places that get a little bit murky when we're directly translating those systems into business. And that's what I found. So I've been doing business coaching and business strategy for, I want to say, maybe like 8 years. Actually, I have to go back and look at it. In the beginning, it was like a little bit loose. And then certainly these past 5 years, it's really been all that I do. And almost all of my clients are entrepreneurs or leaders, either leaders in their lives, leaders in corporate, leaders in business. And so people would come to me most of the time, not always, and especially not now, but most of the time they would come to me because they were already exposed to human design or they downloaded their gene keys. But translating those systems to business, it just wasn't quite making sense. And especially when it came down to looking at things like the gates and some of the wording and the language around these systems almost feels, and I don't think it is intentionally creating a barrier, but some of it does create a bit of a barrier between our understanding, right? So for the average person, right? Maybe you and I are the kinds of people who we see a phrase and we see a system and we're like, oh my gosh, I want to go into that and I want to learn everything that I can about that system. I want to go share it with the world. I want to learn all the terminology, all the pieces of the system. But for the average person who maybe doesn't have the time, doesn't have the resources to hire a coach to do the trainings, doesn't have the patience, or really doesn't even have the interest. If you don't have those 4 things, it's very difficult to actually really understand what your human design, your gene keys, and your astrology are telling you. And I found with my clients, the biggest barrier was language. When we use language in a system like that, that isn't connected to the way that we speak in our everyday lives, it creates an extra step. And I'm just guessing that many of your clients come to you because you synthesize and you translate what you see in their chart into a way that they understand it. And so what I found was all of these people were coming to me, particularly people with gene keys. They were interested in the gene keys and they're saying, yeah, but what does this mean in real life? And I just found myself translating the gene keys into a very accessible language. And, fast forward a little bit, I was exploring the gene keys and other planets, ones outside of what's on the actual gene keys profile. And I already had a background in human design, loved the gates because of the specificity of like, ooh, that's me, like in even more detail. I am 62.3. I'll tell you all about myself in a minute. I forgot. I don't think I told you all those details. I'll get to those. But I was looking at, people would come to me and they'd say, what does this word mean in real life? And I was translating it. And then I started to look at the key codes in different planets. And I started to find some themes. And I started to really begin to interpret the planets, right? So we're talking astrology, not from the lens of my personal development, but from the lens of how do these planets influence my success? How can they support me as an entrepreneur? And I was exploring that for myself. And then I began testing it on my clients, my very, very willing, flexible, creative, thank goodness for them clients who I could bring these ideas to. And, fast forward, after a lot of refinement, the Success Codex was born. And the intention behind this system is that someone can, this might show up backwards in my video, but I'll show it anyway. Someone can look at their success. Oh, it's a little blurry. Well, I'll pull it on the screen anyway. There we go. Someone can look at their Success Codex, and number one, they don't need a complex or any background in human design astrology in order to understand it. Two, the words on it make sense to them because they're everyday words. There's no contemplation required. There's no, nothing extra. And three, that what is on that page isn't just information, it's cues to help them to actually apply it. Because maybe you've noticed, I know I've noticed this in my life, I am somebody who loves to learn. But a lot of us who love to learn, and there are many of us, we can consume and consume and consume information, but actually not see any results from that information if we are not applying the information. And so it was really important to me that the Success Codex is something that is applicable, that you can take, it's tangible, it's applicable, it's easy, it's accessible, and also that it's fun, okay? Because I know for myself, personal development is fun. I do think that personal growth is fun, even though it's challenging. Being an entrepreneur, there is something that's fun about it. But it can also be really heavy, right? Especially when we're looking at pieces of ourselves that we know are ready to grow and we have to stretch out of our comfort zone. And yeah, especially because we live in a world where we are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us that we're not good enough and that we're broken, we have pieces to fix. And so when we come to our business development and our leadership development from a context of, oh, I'm broken, there's this extra barrier between who we are and who we want to be, like living that life and having that impact that we really desire. So my intention was to make this like light and easy. And I do believe that I accomplished that. So I'm very, very excited. Now, as a reader, as a business coach, really as any kind of coach, right? But in particular, as a business coach or a leadership coach, someone who works with people who are trying to build a business, and for us ourselves who are building businesses and stepping into larger stages and growing our own personal leadership, having a map that highlights our natural genius is a gift, because what it allows us to do is, one, stop outsourcing our authority, right? I'm not talking human design authority. I'm talking about our personal authority. How are you making the decisions in your business? What's really influencing that? Is it coming from you? Or is it coming from that coach or that program or that YouTube video or that podcast? Are you approaching your business from a place of, I have to get it right? Or are you approaching your business from a place of, I deeply trust myself? I might not have all the answers, but I know what is easy for me, and I can lean into those skills, those qualities that I'm born with naturally, instead of shape-shifting and imitating and trying to be something that I'm not. When I think about how many people in the world right now are experiencing burnout at their jobs and also as entrepreneurs, I really believe that at the heart of it is almost like a self-betrayal or denying our own nature. Because when we can run a business based on who we are naturally, we save energy, we save time, and we really get on the direct path the really it's the direct path of least resistance to success, because I want you to think about it this way, right? You are who you are. Think of how much energy it takes to try to be something you're not. Like, you can do it. You can be an actor. It can be a little performative. Maybe for some people that can even be fun, but it's still an act. And at some point, the true self is going to scream and cry and want to come back out into the world and be seen and be expressed. And holding that true part of ourselves down might not be front of the mind energy, but I promise you, it takes a lot of energy. And that is the energy that's wasted repressing the self, that could be channeled towards serving people, that could be channeled towards congruent, responsible, conscious abundance and growth. So when you can align with your natural gifts, you're really using your energy in the most efficient and empowering way that you can. And so the way that we do that with the Success Codex is we go through the system and we take a look at all of the parts that I'm about to share my screen, and I'm going to walk you through these parts. But that's what we do. We're looking at these parts and we're really connecting with, well, what does that mean to me? Because I will tell you this, while I did use very precise language when I selected the keywords for these key codes, that doesn't matter as much as your own personal connection to those key codes. What matters most is how it impacts you, not some set of rules. Okay, a lot of these systems, they do take a very kind of like puritanical, it has to be in this pure essence, or it's wrong. While I do want to honor the words that came forth, this is a system that is meant to be a springboard for your self-understanding and not a rule book. Okay, so I'm going to pause here, and then I'm going to pop an example Success Codex up on the screen. I will show you how to access that after, but I'm going to pop this up on the screen and I'm going to walk you through the different parts of the Success Codex now. Okay, so what you see on the screen now is an example of a Success Codex. Now, I just made a person up because I didn't want to share anyone's personal information, but I wanted to show you what the system looks like in its entirety. So what you're looking at now, this is the Success Codex. A few things that I want to point out. So you'll notice that these boxes are in different colors. And there is a legend here on the bottom left. I know I will zoom in at some point, but just so you know, this is the name of the different paths. And when you're looking at your Success Codex, we have these path breakdowns. I'm going to tell you what each of these paths are about, and I'm going to go through what each of the planets or planetary aspects are that we're looking at, or calculations. Because I know there are already some questions of people who are looking at this and they know their human design. They're like, I don't have that gate. Something must be wrong. It's not. We are using a few points that are not in human design, and that's why you may not be familiar with them, right? So we've got the whole chart, and then we've got these breakdown charts of the 4 different paths. So first thing that I want to point out is this central, well, let me give you some language first, okay? So in the Success Codex, we call the planets or calculations, we call them gateways. Okay, and each gateway, again, remember how I said that I was interpreting the planets of astrology through this lens of entrepreneurship and leadership. So these are highlighted by the words in the colored boxes, right? Each one of these is a different planet or a different calculation of astrology. And the word in the box gives you the essence of what it helps you with in your business. Okay, so for example, expression, structure, initiative, attraction, leadership. Okay, those are all called gateways. Now inside, I'm just going to zoom right in so I can show you all the different parts of it. Okay, this imaginary person, we're going to look at their primary genius, which I'll highlight in just a second, but I want to show you a little breakdown of what's inside. So these are the gates and the lines, just like those that are on your human design. But like I said, a few of them are missing from there, and we'll talk about which calculations and what points those are. But you've got the gate and the line. In the Success Codex, they are called key codes. And the line is called your approach. Okay, so key code and approach. Too bad it's the same number. It would be a little bit easier if it was a different one. I'll show you here, right? 36 is the key code and 6 is the approach. 28 is the key code and 3 is the approach. Now, all of the words, the top 4 words, right? So here we got direction, the compass, orienting, and lost has to do with that key code. And that phrase on the bottom called your approach phrase has to do with your approach, okay? So what we're looking at, the word that's all in capitals inside the circle is your genius. This is the essence. This is the natural quality that you were born. You came into this planet with this essence, okay? With this frequency, with this genius, okay? Underneath that, we've got the archetype. And this is an archetype that helps you to understand and embody it. Some of them are, I want to say like a little more concrete, right? Like the journeyer, the trendsetter. Some of them, the inspiration, are a little bit more, they're a little bit more of a stretch, but they're still going to give you a feel, okay? Underneath that, you've got a word that is just regular font, not bold, not italics, and that is your alignment cue. Then when you are aligned, this is what you will be doing, feeling, being, okay? Underneath that word that is in italics, that is your out of alignment cue. That's your sign that something's off, that you're not quite aligned with this beautiful gift that you were born with. Okay, so we can use this to help us really understand, how are we doing? How aligned am I? Because the more aligned we are, right? Like let's take this person, the more they connect with and leverage this genius of direction, they're unlocking their primary genius, right? Let's look at another one, for example, right? The more this person leans into their leadership, the more they're unlocking their initiative. It's a key code for the gateway. Picture, you stick in the key code, you unlock it, and now you have stepped through that gateway. Okay, so the final piece I want to talk about is this approach phrase. So, in human design and in gene keys, align is, well, actually gene keys, there's differentiation, but in human design, kind of, you've got these 6 main archetypes and 6 main meanings. But I want to let you know that these phrases, each phrase directly ties to the gateway that it is connected to, right? So shedding attachment has to do with rebirth. Cultivation has to do with purpose. What people are drawn to has to do with attraction. And then the word that's in capital relates to what that approach is. But a 2 in one place, so that point 2 here, will have a different keyword. Usually, sometimes they're the same, but it often has a different keyword than it does in another gateway. Okay, so it changes. They're not all the same, right? So for example, your primary genius is point 2. Your approach is to weave in your passion, but in capacity, which is your earth, your approach is to stretch your edge of enoughness, of trusting that you are enough, right? So that changes. Okay, so that, I think, right, and there's a little key on the bottom left from this view. And now let's talk just a teeny bit about the different paths. So like I said, there are 4 different paths. These are kind of like general umbrella areas of business that are essential for you to be successful. I'm going to zoom in here to this bottom left, this little key. Let's see if I can get it in the center. Kind of, that's the best that I can do, right? So the 4 success paths are the impact path, which relates to visibility, the growth path, which is about abundance, the balance path, which is about sustainability, and the transformation path, which is about change. So let's talk through what are the planets and the calculations in each of these paths, because this is a big question, okay? Like I said, we're hearing a lot of that, okay? So first of all, you will notice, first of all, every calculation is based on the personality side, the conscious side, the right planets. If you're looking at your body graph, it's all the planets on the right. That was a conscious choice. There may be a design side one coming at some point. I have started to brainstorm that with some of my certified readers. However, it's not ready yet. And for now, we really are working with the conscious side because what I find is it's an easier way in. And I'm all about breaking down the barriers between you being your full actualized self. Okay. So every single path has the sun in the center. That's your conscious sun. Okay. But the context of it changes, right? So in the transformation path, it's anchor. In the balance path, it's your center. In the growth path, it's identity. Sorry for, hopefully I'm not making you dizzy as I'm turning here. And in the impact path, it's visibility. And really we view it as your primary genius. It is your primary genius, right? But we just kind of break down the context of what the lens through which we're looking at it a little bit more within these paths, right? So here we've got visibility, which is your conscious sun in the center. How do you show up and be seen as your full self? How do you see yourself as your full self, and how can you allow others to see that aspect of you as well? Again, impact path. This is all relating to your visibility, true, authentic visibility, and creating a bigger impact. We look at Mercury, conscious Mercury, for your expression. How do you use your voice, your words, your expression? Sometimes it's not words, maybe it's art, maybe it's dance. How do you express your truth in a way that is not only potent, but like receivable, powerful, authentic, true to you, so that your clients, your customers, your audience, your friends, your family, right? Like everyone can really actually receive what you are bringing to the table. Like how can you express yourself the way that you were designed to? What's the quality you're bringing through your expression? Not what are you talking about, right? So none of these tell you what you should be doing in your business. Okay, this is all about your own embodiment and how you are, what qualities you're bringing through when you are in these areas. I'll talk a little bit more about that later if it comes up. Okay, so again, Mercury expression. Now here's one that is not in human design. This is your ascendant or your rising in astrology. Big three. What's your sun, moon, rising? Well, we got sun, moon, and rising in this, okay? But this is your rising or your ascendant in astrology, and it is your impression gateway. This is how do people receive or perceive you without you trying to be anything that you're not. This is nothing that you need to now go and do. This is how people see you. Automatically, they see you this way. So how can you leverage that to create more coherence between this person sees me as this? I acknowledge that this is a part of me. And you see how that creates coherence, which creates trust. Okay, so that's your impression. And up on top, we've got leadership, the leadership gateway, which is it's your midheaven. So midheaven in astrology is really important for business. It is your public profile, it's fame, it's notability. Here we call it leadership, and it also has to do with scaling. How can you be seen, and what will you be known for? Or like, what can you call forth to be known for what you're here to do on a greater scale? So you can see this is visibility, and this is almost like 10xing your visibility, right? Like, okay, here's me and the people I'm talking to. How can I create an even bigger impact here? Okay, so that's the impact path. The growth path is just about what it sounds like it is. It's about growth, and it's about abundance. It's about tapping into more. It's about expanding your impact and growing, right? So here, again, it's still the sun, but we're looking at it through the context of your identity. How can you bring your true self, not just, into your life, but really through the identity of your business? How can you bring more of you through your business, your values, your truth, your like the essence of who you are? We look at Jupiter, conscious Jupiter, for expansion. More. How do we create more without forcing, without trying, without hustling? Okay. We look at Venus for attraction. Your attraction gateway is what quality are people naturally drawn to you that you hold? They may know it consciously, they may not know it consciously, but this is what they are looking for on their soul path, and they see you as one who has that. So think about how powerful it is to know that, so you can leverage it in your marketing, in your embodiment, in your offers. And then finally, we look at conscious earth, which is in the Success Codex, we call that your capacity. And really, maybe you've experienced this, you reach a certain amount of money and then you feel like you're stuck and you're plateaued, well, that's your capacity. So how can we stretch our ability to hold more? Because that's also a part of sustainable growth. Nobody wants to be on a roller coaster or have almost a one-hit wonder of success where all of a sudden you make a ton of money and then next year you make nothing and you're like, what happened? Well, maybe your capacity wasn't built up to be able to hold more. So we're stretching our edges here. It's a little bit of a blind spot sometimes with this one, and a growth edge. So just know that. Okay, so that is the growth path. Next, we have the balance path. And the balance path it really is about sustainability, okay? Because in our business, as I'm sure you know, if you have a business, whether you're starting out or you're wildly successful, it can be a roller coaster of ups and downs and feast and famine. And while we can get to a point where our income is consistent, things also happen in life that can throw our rhythm off. And so what this path is about is really establishing a solid center and solid, almost like systems, so that we can sustain our, like, who we are, stay deeply connected to who we are, and make sure that we are always, building in a direction that honors, again, who we are, right? So here's what we're looking at here. The sun becomes the center. It is the center point of which we are balancing Saturn, conscious Saturn, which is the structure in our business, right? Structure, consistency, commitment, these pieces. And what are they in service of? They are in service of our flow, which is the moon, right? Remember I said sun, moon, rising for the big three from astrology. Here's where the moon is. It's in the balance path. And this moon has to do with our emotional mastery, our emotional intelligence. It has to do with our nervous system regulation. And it has to do with our capacity to, when we have highs and lows, how to not lose ourselves. How the waves of life can come, but are they going to knock us down? Or can we learn how to ride those waves? And all of this is important, but it's also important to understand what we are growing into. So here, this is our north node. And your north node in the Success Codex is the purpose gateway. And I just want to be very clear because sometimes it's a little bit misinterpreted. Misinterpreted? Yeah, felt like that word was weird. We're not talking about your mission. Okay, this is your sole purpose, what you are here to learn and grow through. And if you have a business, this will be tested and challenged and stretched on your business journey. So just know that, right? This is something, maybe you have it like pretty mastered, right? But your whole trajectory is moving towards this in your life. And so this is kind of like I am going to say it's like a little bit of like a spiritual or a soul balancing point, right? It's between the center, structure, flow, and purpose. Okay, that's what I want to say about the balance path. And then let's do one more. This is the transformation path. This is the final path here. And this is really all about change and stepping into your next level self. So here we have the sun becomes our anchor. Now, really what we're anchoring into here in the transformation path is we're not just anchoring into what, let's say, this genius, for this person, it's direction, right? What your genius is now, but what does that next level of expression of this genius look like? That's what we're anchoring into, right? This is a path that's great to use or explore when you're really kind of like, you're at a threshold, or you feel like you've got an invisible glass wall between yourself and where you want to be. You can see it, you can almost taste it, almost touch it, but you're just not there. This is a really powerful path to explore. So we're anchoring into that next level. We're looking at how do you make moves with initiative, and initiative is conscious Mars. Okay. So how do you make the most aligned moves in your business and aligned with your highest expression, that next level? Now, here is a new one. We look at permission. Permission is Lilith. Most human design software doesn't give you that option. Bodygraph does, which is awesome. So you can look at that in your human design as well. But this permission piece it's all about, it's one thing to say, okay, I know I want to be. I know what my goal is. It's another to actually step into that, give yourself permission. And another aspect of this is really being a stand for something that you deeply care about, that you deeply believe in. That's the core part of who you are. So if you're not familiar with Black Moon Lilith and that mythology, there are a lot of interpretations, but the way that I interpret it as an entrepreneur, as a leader, the story goes, before Adam and Eve, there was Adam and Lilith, and God created Adam and Lilith at the same essence. Adam and Eve were getting it on, and Adam wanted Lilith. Eve. Adam and Lilith, this is before Eve, okay? And Adam wanted Lilith to lie underneath him. And Lilith, but out of defiance, she was not defiant. This was not being defiant. She literally, she's like, you're equal. Why do I have beneath you? And Adam got so mad, he told on God, and then she was banished. And that is the story, right? And so what I pulled from that, it's not about being a rebel. It's about being such a stand for what you believe in, for what you know to be true, that to betray that is almost an impossibility, no matter the cost, right? And so that's how we're holding, it's like we're holding these true essential aspects of ourselves. Can't get the words out. We're holding these essential aspects of ourselves in that context, that we cannot betray ourselves. So permission, it's almost like we don't even need to grant permission, but we do frame it from here to remind ourselves, this is something that I have to allow myself to be, especially in a world that tells me that we're not okay to be who we are. So that was a little bit long, but Black Moon Lilith. And then finally we have Rebirth, which is Pluto, which is all about moving through change. And really in this context, we're looking at what aspects of your current self are you maybe holding on to too tightly, and you're holding on to them so tightly that the next level version of that doesn't have any space or any room to step in, right? So people sometimes will get caught up on this where it's a shed attachment to your talent, responsibilities, lessons, experience. I'm not telling you get rid of those things. What we're inviting you to do is look at how tightly you're holding it, and can you make space for that next level of yourself to come in. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share. And what we're going to do next. So, well, first of all, what do you think? I hope that you can comment, come into wherever, comment under this video, go into Bodygraph, the Facebook group, and let me and let all of us know what you think of this system, what's coming to mind for you as you are taking a look at your own Success Codex. What are these words doing for you inside? The more that you allow it to work you before you go and search for all the definitions and the words, the more powerful it's going to be, right? I'm letting you know you're the authority. This system is a springboard, okay? So what we're going to do next is I'm going to pause the video, come back again, and I'm going to share with you where to find the Success Codex and also how to download the very special workbook and mini report that goes along with one of the trainings in the Business Mastery Hub. Okay, we are back and we are in the main dashboard. If you click home in bodygraph.com, now they just did a system update. Everything probably will stay looking like this. There might be a few things that look a little different depending on when you're watching this video, but in general, this is the home. And when you want to generate a chart, you come over to the left and you scroll down to generate charts, and you're going to click that. If you are on mobile, I think there's 3 lines on the bottom left that you click and this menu will pop up. So we're going to do generate charts. And I did tell you I was going to tell you more about myself here. So I'm going to open my own chart and we'll use that as an example. Okay, so oops, I want to set this way. So typically when you pop open a chart for the first time, you will see the human design view. So just to let you guys know, I am a 3/6 pure generator, in case you were wondering. I am a Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, Aries rising with a Libra stellium. So if you are familiar with astrology, you will know that is very, very cardinal. I have a lot of cardinal energy. I start things and I do them and I don't overthink it and I kind of get my hands messy, which is also reinforced by the fact that I am a 3/6 profile in human design. You can kind of see my definition here. I'm a right angle cross of Maya. So in the Success Codex, my conscious sun, right? So that's that primary genius. I'm not going to put my mouse over it because information pops up. But 62.3, 62 has a primary genius of decoding. I am the translator. And guess what happened when I leaned 100% into that genius? The Success Codex was born, and all of a sudden my business exploded. And I've seen it happen with my clients as well, even without creating their own system. Leaning into that genius is so powerful, right? So again, you open up a chart, or you can always add a person. And what always pops up first is their human design. So you're going to see this drop down menu that says human design, and you're going to click it. And you've got different options, astrology, and now the Success Codex is there. So you click Success Codex. And what's going to come up first is the complete view. Now, where it says complete, you can go down and you can select different paths, whichever path, if you want to look at one at a time, right? All 4 of them are there. I don't need to click through them. But you've got this complete path. Now, I have the details enabled, right? So if I go to more actions, where is it? Oh no, sorry, chart properties. I do not have that hidden. So if that's black or that's selected, go ahead, unselect that. And what you're going to see is when you scroll down, or depending on the, like how zoomed in you are on the screen, it might be on the right part of your screen. On mobile, it's underneath. And you're going to see the descriptions of these key codes. Now, what's in these boxes in the main view is we're using, it's just telling you, okay, decoding is the genius. The translator is the archetype. But what I want to point out to you is if you click on these 3 little dots, we've added a little bit more. So the first line of text will tell you about the gateway itself. And then underneath that, you're going to get a description of the key code of the gate, right? So primary genius has a little bit more, but I'll show you expression, right? So expression, what we have here, I'll just read this one, right? Your expression, genius, and approach help you express yourself potently and authentically in ways that deeply land with others. And then there's a description of the key code and a guiding question at the end to help you connect more deeply to what this key code means. Again, I'm not giving you everything. That's really first step, is for you to explore it and think about that yourself. So this view, again, like you can hide the chart properties or not. I like to have them there. And especially as a beginner, as you're beginning to look at this system, really powerful to kind of have just a little bit of more guidance and to read a little bit more about those gateways. But here's what I want to show you. The way that I was sharing my screen previously with that beautiful 5-page PDF, I want to show you where to get that for free. So you're going to click on reports. And now I think these icons might change, these thumbnails might change, but you're going to scroll down until you see one that says Success Codex PDF download. And you're going to click download. And then it's going to pop up. I'm just going to open it here. I think it's shared the window. Yep, you can see. I'm going to switch back to the other one, but this is your 5-page PDF, and you can just download that directly to your phone or to your computer. So it's one thing I wanted to show you. Oops, sorry. I'm going to X that out, but I want to show you one more thing, right? So that's how to find this here. Now I want to show you and tell you about this new training in Business Mastery Hub. So let me go back. I'm going to show you how to navigate that. Excuse me. You're going to go back to this menu all the way on the left, and you're going to scroll down until you see Business Mastery Hub. There's a little yellow thing that says new. I don't know how long that will be there, but for now we use that. And you're going to see this is Business Mastery Hub. If you have not explored this, please go explore this. I've like binge watching everyone's videos, and they're so good. There's so much wisdom and skill that's being shared here. So I want to tell you about a new training that we just added So the way, I think the easiest way to find it is to probably click on instructors if you can. And you can either click on the icon of me, or on the left, it says all instructors, Ankhara Rose. Now, you may have already seen this Success Codex readings. It's how to supercharge your human design readings by integrating the Success Codex in it. Definitely go look at that one. But here's what I want to show you, your secret advantage. So your secret advantage is all about that primary genius. And I created this training to be just like if you were to join a Success Codex Academy program and learn about the gateways. It's it's a very similar format. So you kind of get a feel. I didn't hold anything back here. I shared it all. So what this is going to do, it's going to tell you all about your primary genius. And then I created a really fun workbook for you to do as well. So I want you to get that workbook and mini report. You'll see, if you're on desktop, you're going to see videos and resources, and you're going to click on resources. If you're on mobile, you're going to scroll down until you see this little picture of me, this little round icon thumbnail, and then you're going to click on resources. And what you're going to do is the first resource that comes up is, it says your primary genius report and workbook download. You're going to click it, and it's going to bring you to a separate web page. Okay, and what you're going to do, you are going to, let's see if one comes up. Okay, let's do my Success Codex. Okay, so you're gonna either enter your data, or if you have one that you already pulled up, you know, you can just go back and reach that. Yes, a human design is gonna pop up here. Bodygraph is not yet ready. It has not yet created the Success Codex embed tool so that you can have this available on your website, or the reports tool. But I kind of did a little workaround because we're only looking at conscious sun, and all that information is available for reading reports. Okay. But for now, human design is popping up. In the future, what will pop up will be your Success Codex there. But this is what I want you to look at. There's this little box. It says Primary Genius Workbook and Free Report. Download now. You're going to download it. And you're going to double click it, and I want to show you what it is. Now, don't do this workbook until you have gone through the program. Go through the training, and this goes alongside it. So bring it, print it. It's got a workbook. It's got fun fill in the blanks. It's got some journal questions. And then at the end, we have an actual report. Let me make this a little smaller. Right? We've got it's just a short report, but it's going to tell you all about your primary genius, a little bit more about the archetype, the alignment cue. There's that guiding question, what energetic center of success it is. That's my language for the 9 centers. A description of the genius, why it matters, how to activate it, how you block it. And an embodiment tip, and also a mantra. So I really gave you everything that I can. And then that next page is about your approach, that decimal point. Okay. And it gives you, again, a little bit of a description, kind of a quote here, and a guiding question. So all of that. And then there are a few links that you can just explore here as well at the end. So let me click out of that. So again, don't worry about the fact that this is a human design chart. You're just going to click download now and get that, and then use that as you're going through your secret advantage. That's the training I want everybody to go and do. If you did the other training, you'll notice that this part, the Success Codex components explained, that's the same as from the other training, and I just did it in this video. You might be able to skip that. You can probably skip that, or watch it again if you want to just reinforce what you learned. It's part 2. That's the juicy part. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share. So again, I am so thrilled to be a part of bodygraph.com, to be a part of this team. Everyone is so this team of people, they are so devoted to really serving this community of readers and professionals. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm really honored to bring this work to you. I am someone who, I make myself available to those who want to learn and who want to ask questions. I am going to be active in the bodygraph.com Facebook group. I also have a Success Codex Facebook group that you can join as well. depending on when you watch this, I am planning to do multiple free mini readings within the bodygraph.com Facebook group. So I pop on just on my phone. You have your Success Codex with me and you ask me questions in the chat and I will talk about it because I love doing nerdy stuff like that. I don't know about you, but that's really fun for me. And it's cool because you'll get a chance to understand your own codex, but you'll also learn as you hear me talking about other people's codexes as well. So with that, please go to the Business Mastery Hub. Use those resources. They were created just for you. Take advantage of that. You know, my trainings and trainings by the other people who are here. Ask questions if you have them. Explore, stay open. Remember, this is meant to be a springboard. I want to just reinforce the deep, unshakable belief that I have that you were designed for success and that the Success Codex is your reminder of how magnificent you are when you're looking at your constellation of different key codes. And that's it for now. Okay. So sending you all off with lots of love, lots of joy, happy exploring, and I will see you soon.